Hey, everybody, super excited. We're here for another 20-minute pop-up, not 19, not 21. Super excited to have Casey Quinn here with Accruity. He is the guy who solves all of the problems that you didn't know you had. And for most investors, this is our biggest weakness in business. So today, Casey's going to jump into the top 3 things that you are probably screwing up in your real estate business. And I say probably because I'm trying to be generous. So Casey, let's jump right into it. What is number 1, brother?
Yeah, I think number 1, you said it already, right? I think number 1 is solving the problems that we don't know that we have, which is understanding our financial situation, right? Like, we're all massive entrepreneurs. We're all out there chasing sales. We're all out there chasing revenue. We're all out there chasing the next thing. We all have 1,000 things on our plate. We're all in the whirlwind, right? And when it comes to our financial statements, understanding our financial position, understanding our key financial KPI metrics, I think we are all not doing a good enough job of that right now in our businesses, particularly given the industry, right, that we're in, given the economical situation that we're in at a macro level and at a micro level, really across the country, regardless of the location trend, right? I always talk to people around, like, it really depends on where you're at in the country.
Yeah.
Big time in terms of real estate investment, in terms of kind of strategy and what's going on at the economic level / macro level. Mm-hmm. I think in this case, right, David, like, and I know you do business across the country, I think it doesn't matter where you're at right now, right? You've got to be really focused in on your financials, because if you're not, you really can get hung up extremely quickly, right? What I mean by that is it's too late, right? You're not paying attention to your financials. You're not understanding exactly the money. Sure. You have money in the bank, but you're not understanding your liabilities and where that money's going and where you're spending it. And all of a sudden, the revenue cuts off, right? The return on that investment, the return on the money you're spending, wherever it is, all of a sudden isn't returning what it once was, because the economy is a little bit different, right? Whether that's your rental properties, whether it's your wholesale business, whatever it is, right? So all of those things, to me, kind of accumulate to this one bigger issue that I think we're all facing, which is, like, we really need to focus on getting clarity inside of our financial statements, inside of our business, and really dial in running the company based on our actual numbers of what's happening inside of our business.
Yeah, and I think, as investors, that is, and I'm going to speak for me, I don't want to project on everybody else, although we know that's you out there listening. We're investors. We're talky guys. We want to be out there cutting deals, and doing things and making money, and we're really good at that. But for me, paying attention to the financial side has always been a struggle. In the very beginning, we were like in a wagon going down the hill really fast. We're making money. We're buying properties. We're doing all the things. And then you get to the end and you're like, oh my gosh, it's been 2 or 3 years. And now I have this tax liability, or, my things just aren't set up correctly. They're not, everything wasn't done the way it should have been done. And I hate to tell people set all this up before you even start making money, because it can be a distraction. But at what point should people start, looking at this and thinking about this?
I think right away, to your point, it's right away. Now, there's certain pieces of the business you can do and not do when it comes to that. Yeah. I'm not saying create a 5-year business plan that is down to the dollars and cents of, hey, in 5 years, I'm going to make 10 million. And I know where every single penny is being spent in year 5, right? I'm not saying spend all kinds of money and do all of that. What I'm saying is just understand what you need to understand, right? And so ask the questions of, like, what are going to be the most important KPIs in my financial KPIs in my business right away? In month 1 in business, how can I at least manually track them, or get a partner that will do that for me, right? And it doesn't need to be robust. Mm-hmm. Just the basics around what am I spending on what and where and why and how is it coming back to me, right? Mm-hmm. I think about every dollar we spend as an investment, right? You can look at it as a cost or a true investment, but it's all an investment, right? So if I'm spending money on a marketing company, right? Let's say I want to start wholesale. I'm brand new. I've never done a deal. Well, like, you're probably going to spend some money on mailers or on lead gen, right, through PPC or whatever it is, like immediately start tracking the financial side of that and understanding when it's coming back to you, right? If I spend $5,000 on marketing today, we track cost of the lead, cost of the deal, cost of the close, but like, what is the actual return on the investment and when is it coming and how long till it comes? So if we spend $5,000 today, we know we're going to get $20,000, but like when? So that we know when we can spend the next $5,000 and the next $5,000. And so the basic KPIs you really want to be setting up absolutely right away. You want to get in your QuickBooks right away. We recommend QuickBooks to every small business. Every time you spend $1, you need to be coding it to the correct place so that in 3 months, when you are out running crazy and don't have time, like it's somewhat automated or somebody is looking at that to get to the right cost bucket so you can analyze where you're spending your money and what it actually is making you. So, hey, economy's starting to get tight or I failed as you learn, as you and I both know, as you take action, you learn so much.
Sure.
You can quickly understand where you're spending that and then either stop it or change it, move it, and do the different things. And so to me, the answer is right away. I don't know what you think, but.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. There are always times where you look back and like, oh, I wish I knew exactly which marketing source or which marketing stream, whatever it is, was producing or which property was producing or, which ones are costing me money so that you can make those business decisions. And the amazing thing about today, as opposed to 20 years ago when I started is, I had to have the bookkeeper and the accountant and all those people almost on staff where now it can be outsourced because, for me as an investor, that's not my personality type. Luckily I've got a great COO now in my office who's able to do that for me, but most people, they don't have that. So I think it's fantastic that these things.
And that's what we're doing. We're trying to do because I realize it's really hard to scale. Number one, it's really hard to scale people in general, to create a culture, to go find sales reps, to find your customer service reps, to scale people in general. Mm-hmm. It's even harder to scale people in something that you don't know anything about, right? Like, so you're trying to scale a back office, hire a CFO, hire a controller, hire your staff accountants when you don't even know what it is they do every day, right? And so as a small business, we're able to really create fractionalization of all of the pieces that you need, right? If you need a fractional CFO, we can handle that. Or if you just need someone to do your basic bookkeeping and get the numbers in, right? And so to your point, I think a long time ago that was never there. And there's more and more firms like ours popping up that will really say, hey, look, we can help you from the beginning. You can pay $500 or $1,000 a month when you don't have to spend and go hire a $100,000 a year person because your business isn't big enough yet. But you get what you need now. Sure. So that you can have financial clarity and then learn from them, right? You can learn from them to outsource because they have a fiduciary duty to your business. So
right. And I love it that, of course, you guys, that's why we wanted to bring you on, is although you do all this, your background is in real estate. But let's move on. What is the number 2 thing that people are screwing up in their business?
Yeah, this is a personal one to me because of how I've scaled my business and my portfolio. But I think everybody always is looking at the short-term gain as opposed to the long-term gain, right? More specific to what we do, like, I believe everybody's trying to wholesale too much or flip too much. And if you could just learn and understand the numbers behind why keeping the real estate makes more sense, particularly folks that are full-time wholesalers, full-time flippers, real estate agents, all of the people that are in the industry already making their full-time living because you're a real estate professional. Yeah. Once you're a real estate professional, the tax benefits you get, the long-term wealth you get, how much easier it is to borrow money. Like, it is incredible how much easier it is to borrow money when you have real estate already and you already have equity, right? So I would say the number 2 thing that people aren't doing enough is keeping real estate, right? They're doing too much wholesaling or too much flipping. And it's like, look, if you're going to do 10 deals a month, keep one of them. Like, keep one more property a month or whatever it is at your metrics, like, figure out how to keep one more. Then if you actually look at the math of that, like, you're way better off because if you are wholesaling, you are flipping, you're making more money. Yeah. The advantages of the tax benefits of depreciation that you get, right? Plus the losses that you get in the long-term wealth to be able to borrow more and scale your business faster. You actually make more money. You just don't feel it because you're used to getting your Starbucks or you're used to, buying your Rolls Royce or whatever it is. Like, to me, it's like, no, keep more real estate because
man,
it's time tested, right? We know real estate's going to be going up in value over time forever. It's safe. It creates wealth for you. It creates bankability and borrowability, which is so underlooked in this industry. So to me, number 2, like, keep more real estate.
100%. It's funny. I've always said that anytime I'm around guys who've been in the business for as long as me, and somebody will ask us, what do you wish you could have done different? Every single person to a T says, man, I wish I'd have kept more properties. Back when we were buying stuff in 2010 and 14, God, if I would have, just kept more, my life would have been so much easier.
Yeah, like and it's funny, like talking to you and talking to everybody that's kind of been in the industry a lot longer than me, quite frankly. I've come from corporate America. And so, actually real estate investing for me has only been 6 years.
Yeah.
So I didn't go through some of those down times and everything else, right? But literally every person I've talked to that's 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, I've never heard a single person say, oh, I wish I would have sold more of the real estate. Every single person says, I wish I would have just kept more of the real estate. So
yeah,
I think even now, right? I think it's number one, it's been this way forever, where people sell more because they get the money in their pocket, and they want the money for flash and ego and for the world to see. It's like if you can get rid of that and get rid of the short-term gain and the short-term feel-good feeling that you get, it's unbelievable how much benefits you get long-term by just keeping a little bit more. You figure out how to do it all, right? Just keep it. You know.
I think there's a good spot for investors. I can tell you how it was for me. We had a thriving wholesale business, so we were able to keep these rentals and not have to depend on that cash flow. But it's funny, I woke up this morning, flipped on Instagram, and a really big influencer in our space was, rentals are dead. I'm like, rentals are not dead. It's the greatest wealth producing asset class that there is out there. It'll beat your crypto and your NFTs every single day.
Well, and like, ironically enough, you can't say that at all right now, given what's happening, live today in our economy over the last 5 days of active business. I think that we, like, in my lifetime of understanding what's going on in the world, it's been the biggest drop in stock, that I've ever seen. Right. And it's like, well, guess what? My rentals are fine.
My rentals are
tenants are paying rent. My properties has not gone down in value. It's actually still going up. And so I'm very happy right now that, a majority of all of my wealth is inside of real estate.
Yeah. I've got some money in the stocks that I needed to cash out 3 weeks ago, and I didn't do it. Now I'm sitting there watching, going, geez, I hope we hit the bottom and we do the bounce here pretty quick.
Yeah. It's funny. I seen a meme today that was like, the fourth withdrawal this week from my bank account, trying to buy stock, trying to buy the dip, right? Trying to buy the dip of people trying to do that, So I do have a little bit in that side of it. To your point, I just let it ride. It's kind of like a ride forever thing for me, because my active business is in real estate. So
nice. Well, cool. Well, let's move on. What is the number 3 thing that people are screwing up in their real estate business?
Yeah, trying to solve everything on their own. Like, to me, that's the true and tried thing for me. Like, always, of like, what I learned about 3 years ago, I would tell you, is like, you can compress time more than anything, period, by just getting surrounded by the right people, asking the right people for help in the right fields or industries or challenges that you're facing, right? What I mean by that is, if you're not good at back office, outsource it, right? And then learn and get educated from them along the way. If you don't understand the title process, like, find a really good title partner to work with them, right? If you don't know legal, get a really good legal attorney on your side, right? Or you're growing your business, hire up, right? Hire somebody better than you. If you're not great at sales, hire a really good salesperson early on, right? And let them run the sales side of your business. And so I think the biggest challenge that entrepreneurs face is they feel like they have to do everything. They're constrained, they're resource constrained, right? And they're not going out after getting the help that they need. Mentorships, right? Like, name me a star athlete, or name me a star player that does not getting mentorship and coaching, right? They all are. Think about it. And so it's an ego thing, I think, generally, or just a lack of knowledge of, like, wow, there's actually people out there that want to help me. That's what I've learned. That's really, really cool, is like, and even for me, like, I love helping other people. I don't know that I would have said that years ago. And I think as you find success, it's like, I want to help other people find success, because you're learning that there's people helping you find success. And it's collaboration over competition. And I think that is what's most underlooked by rising entrepreneurs at all levels, in all industries, in all spaces, is go get help. Compress time. You don't know everything, and that's okay. There's people that want to help you.
Yeah, and I think that's probably is part of our personality quirk, right? I always say people that are entrepreneurs, we're all a little bit broken. There are great things in our brain that make us successful, but there are also those, the flip side of that is the stuff that makes us struggle. And I went through that certainly in my career, where in the early days, I can do everything. Nobody's as smart as me. Nobody works as hard as me. All of that stuff, and that stunted. It really held me back in growing. And once I realized that, the only way to scale, and scale means a lot of things to a lot of people. sometimes I post that and people get all tweaked out. But scaling is just growing and running a more efficient business, and you do that by bringing in people who are experts who can help you achieve those goals.
Yeah, and I think too, right? Like the other side of that is a lot of times we struggle to evaluate the benefit of the cost to buy mentorship or to have a partner, right? An expensive lawyer or someone a little bit more expensive in back office or whatever.
Yeah.
We really struggle, I think, as entrepreneurs to evaluate the benefit of the long-term education and success that you're going to get. I recently saw a Hormozy Instagram reel, and they asked him what was the most expensive he's ever paid. He paid $350,000 for an hour of time from a multi-billionaire. Mm-hmm. And they said, was it worth it for the 1 hour? And he said unequivocally, because it told him what he already knew. Right. And I'm like, the brain power to understand, like, you're just getting validation was worth $350,000 to you. It's all relative. He's like, it's made me $28 million because I went full throttle on what I was planning on doing anyways, where fear would have probably held me back. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I think that value is very hard to evaluate, right, if that's the right word. I don't know the right word I'm looking for there, but it's like when you pay for mentorship, what's the immediate return? It's hard to see it. It's hard to feel it. Right. If I spend $10,000 on lead gen, look, in 6 months, I'm going to know if the $10,000 I spent on lead gen was worth spending it or not. Whereas when we pay for a mentor, we pay for a mastermind, or we overpay for whatever, you're not realizing the massive amount of value you're going to get over time and how it's going to completely change your life and your business and everything you're doing. And so it's hard to equate to the return on cost.
Yeah.
So getting rid of that mindset, right?
For me, over doing this for 20 something years, it's just the smallest things that you learn for those mentors. It's the smallest things that can literally turn your business on a dime. It's just incredible. But that's the power of hindsight, where you don't always know it in the moment. But,
and I've spent a lot of money on mentorship, and I have the same delts that we all have of like, is this actually worth it? I don't know. Then to your point, hindsight's always worth it. Like, wow, I got so much out of it. Yeah, did I get a direct return? No, but like, I look where I'm at a year later, I'm like, wow, it really changed the course of where I'm going. Sure. While they didn't do it, they didn't exactly do it. They've given me the mind and development to be able to do those things on my own and learn and grow and educate myself to be able to realize different things to be able to scale, to your point. So
I've paid over $50,000 a couple of times to get coaching and mentorship, and it was 2 guys, but those guys, they operate at such a high level. They look down on what I'm doing, and it's just like effortlessly adjusting what I do. So,
hey, David, real quick, the other thing that I would add that I think is overlooked is when you pay for mentorship, you also usually get connections, bigger network inside of their network, and different things like that I think we significantly undervalue, where it's almost like paying to play. I almost equate it back to like in college, I hated fraternities because I'm not paying for friends.
Right.
Obviously, I've gotten a lot smarter around masterminds and mentorships and coaches. I'm like, yes, I want to pay to be around these people because I level up so much from it. So,
right. Yeah, no, for sure. So, Casey, I appreciate you jumping on real quick because we only have a couple minutes left. Give me a little just snapshot of what you guys do, other than what we've talked about, for investors.
Yeah, so we're Accruity. We're about 2.5 years old. We focus primarily in the real estate investment space and all of the service businesses around it. So construction, property management, title shops, lending shops, anything that touches the real estate space. We are actively involved in scaling, helping back office for those individuals. So our core product is really understanding where you're at, a gap analysis to say, look, you're a mess or you're pretty good. Right. And then we're going to do all your bookkeeping. We're going to do your financial statement close process, which is really underrated, which is reconciling all of your balance sheet and making sure your balance sheet is correct so that your profit and loss statement is correct. We're giving you custom reporting to make sure you understand what's going on in your business. And then generally speaking, we're creating forecasting for you so you can start to look out ahead. And then we can do all other sorts of services for you, whether that be the tax side of things, right? Whether that be payable side, payroll, underwriting deals. We try to really be a one-stop shop for all of our clients in the real estate space's back office, right? So anything that involves accounting, finance, numbers, understanding what's going on in your back office, we really try to support all of our clients on that side of the house.
Yeah, guys, I cannot tell you how important this is. I know, like Casey talked about a little earlier, short-term gains, like we're always chasing that next check, but you need to, if you're going to have a business with any kind of sustainability and you want to turn this into something, some lifelong wealth, you have to set this up. There's no option here, because you got to have your business set up correctly, because the IRS and your local taxes and state taxes, like, they are coming for you, and you will have some very big painful bills to pay. So Casey, thank you so much for jumping on today. I really appreciate you doing our 20-minute pop-up. And guys, we're going to drop the link. And for those of you who are, maybe going to see this later, check out the link, click on it, and book a call with them. And let's see how they can help your business get straightened out and really set you up for the future.
Thanks, Dave.